This is Eitan Weinstein.
And I'm Naor Menninger, and you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys.
This podcast is sponsored by The Forward. Stay up to date with unlimited access to news, culture, and opinion all through a Jewish lens. And for our listeners, for 2NJB listeners, get 6 months of The Forward for only $10. That's 67% off. An exclusive subscription offer for our listeners, forward.com/2NJB, and get 6 months for $10. Also in collaboration with Arutz Sheva, IsraelNationalNews.com. And last but not least, in collaboration with Australian Jewish News, check them out at ajn.timesofisrael.com. Israel is a pretty small country, just about 9 million. But for our size, we pack quite a punch. Everybody knows the old Nobel Laureate spiel. Israelis have won a whopping 12 since 1966, and that's crazy for a country of our size. So it seems like we got the brains, but what about the brawn? Unlike the US, Russia, and China, Israel doesn't have the resources to nurture young athletes from an early age on their journey to become the best athletes in their field. This is why we never particularly excelled at the Olympics. There are, however, a few fields of sport in which we are pretty good. Surfing is one, and judo, as has been known recently, is another. Out of 9 Olympic medals Israel has gotten in the Olympics throughout the years, 5 were in the field of judo. Yael Arad was the pioneer when she brought us the silver medal in 1992 and became the first Israeli to win an Olympic medal. More than a decade later, in 2004, Arik Zeevi won the bronze medal and made history. Since then, Arik has been inspiring generations of martial artists in Israel and throughout the world. So without further ado, 2NJB is super proud to have our first Olympic medalist. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arik Zeevi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
With pleasure.
So please don't beat us up.
No, I'm out of shape. So
That's how you were when you were out of shape, huh?
Corona, right?
yeah, I retired 8 years ago. So,
But
yeah.
we can say Corona.
Yeah.
We'll give you an
Okay.
excuse. We're throwing you a bone. So tell us how it all started. I mean, did you start at like 2? Did you come out kicking and punching?
No. I started training when I was 7 years old
Okay.
in a community center near my house. But I grew up in a very bad neighborhood. It's called Pardeskats. I don't know if you know it.
It's famous for mafia. And law.
Exactly. Very tough. I started training in the shelter in the community center in Pardeskats. It's as bad as it sounds. 50 meters square. The mat was so thin. Every time we fell on the mat, we really felt the floor. The coach who started training me was only 16 and a half years old. Just got his diploma as an instructor and opened up the club without any experience at all. The only reason I started training judo, not that the option was too high, was because that coach was my neighbor. So my elder brother started training before me, and I was following them like any young brother. As you understand, it's coincidence that I'm in judo, like all the Israeli sports. Everything is coincidental, you know. You can be the next Michael Phelps in Israel. If you're not living next to a swimming pool, you won't even know that you have the talent to be a swimmer.
It's not like you're part of a long generation of judo warriors that have passed it down for hundreds of years.
Not at all. Not at all. It's, you know, if my coach was a karate instructor, so I would training in karate. But karate is not an Olympic sport, so I won't be an Olympic athlete. So I'm very lucky that it was judo, and judo it's an Olympic sport.
Why isn't karate Olympic sport?
In Tokyo, it will be the first time that karate will be an Olympic, but as a demonstration. If it will work out, so it will be a part of the Olympic community. But I don't know. I think because there are a lot of type of karate. Karate do, karate full contact. I'm not sure.
But what was the moment? Okay, you started at 7, but what was the moment, if you remember, that you fell in love with judo?
Yeah. I think the moment that everything became serious was when I was 15 years old. I won the Israeli championship in seniors. Seniors in judo, it's 21 up. I became the youngest ever who ever won that title. And I started training with the Israeli national team. And it was...
Wait, so you at 15, sorry, I have
Yeah,
to pause on that.
yeah,
At
yeah.
15, you were
Yeah.
beating up like 22-year-olds.
Exactly. In the final, I beat the
Wow.
brother of Oren Smadja, his older brother. He was 24 years old.
Okay, Oren Smadja is the second Olympic
Exactly,
winner.
exactly. I was also surprised that I won that gold medal.
Wow.
And I started training with the national team, and it was 3 months before Barcelona Olympic game, when Yael Arad and Oren Smadja won their Olympic medal. And when they won the medal, suddenly everything became very professional. I suddenly saw that, maybe I can be also in the Olympic game. I can win a medal. Like in the beginning.
Before 92, you didn't realize there's this path.
No, I just wanted to be as good as I can. I will tell you a story. When I was 14 years old, I flew for the first time to represent Israel in a competition. It was in French. And we landed at Zurich airport. It was the first time that I ever took a flight. From Pardescats to be in Zurich, it's a big difference. I lost.
It's also a rough neighborhood.
Yeah,
Zurich.
in Zurich, yeah. Yeah, different rough. And I remember that the coach told me, okay, we are going to eat lunch at a restaurant. I told him, wait, I have to bring my wallet. He told me, no, you are representing Israel. We are paying for everything. I said, wow, really? Wow, I want to fly again. My only goal was to fly again to represent Israel, because suddenly I saw that it's a... So only when I was 15 years old and I started training with the national team and I started to go to represent Israel in competition and Oren won the medal, suddenly, there was a path that I can aim for. But before it was, I just wanted to be as good as I can. That's it.
But after, so you trained, you got to the Olympics, no biggie. And then, and of course the training is, to us, it's non-human, right? It's like, to us simpletons, you train for days and months and years.
What does the training look like?
I will tell you the truth, to be an athlete, it's not so difficult physically.
Oh, okay.
I know people 40 years old that are training to be an Ironman. They're training even, harder than I trained. The problem to be an Israeli athlete or an Olympic athlete is that you have like one chance every 4 years to succeed in your goal, to win an Olympic medal. And it's a big stress that it's either you win or all the 4 years were in vain. So that is the biggest problem to be an Olympic athlete. The training, they are hard, but I don't know. I think if I miss something, is the life is being an athlete. You're training 2 times a day. You can rest at the afternoon. You're going to every 2 weeks. You are flying to a different country. It's an interesting life, but the problem is there is a lot of stress when you are in.
How would the day look like at this
It
period?
depends. If I'm training 2 times a day, so we have the morning session at 9:00, and then you have to, do a physiotherapy treatment. I did like 3 times a week because all my body is hurt. In the evening, it's around 6:00, so you can rest in the afternoon. After a few years that I trained like that, I realized that I have to do something else, because just being an athlete, it's not enough. So I started learning in the IDC. I learned law and business, and I was also the host of Sport TV, if you know, in Channel 11 in Israel. So I realized that I have to do something else, because just to wait for the next training, it's boring. So
yeah. So you spoke of the pressure.
The pressure
every
it's huge.
4 years, and also I guess if you're an athlete, I guess your adult career is probably something like 15 years at most.
Yeah.
So you basically have at most 4 chances at this goal. So there's a lot of. So can you talk about like what the first time you reached that place?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that stress?
I will tell you more than that. When you're a football player or basketball player, you have every week you have a game. It's not like, even if you are not winning the Olympic medal in basketball, you are playing in your team, and you can show your ability.
Yeah.
In judo now, it's better because you have the Grand Slam and Grand Prix. But when I was a professional athlete, there was only World Championship once every 2 years and the European Championship every year. So you have only one chance every year to try to do something with that year. And my first Olympic was in Sydney. By the way, I participated in 4 Olympic Games. I qualified to 5. I also qualified to Atlanta in '96. I was 19 years old, but they didn't send me. I don't know if you remember, but back then the Olympic Committee has something that you need to do the Israeli qualification. The international one is not enough. You have to do the Israeli one. So I didn't do that. So they
Which
decided...
involves what, combinot and...
Not combinot. They decided, Israel, I will tell you something. They like the, how do you say, the percentage of success. For example, if they're sending 10 athletes and they have 2 medals, 20% of our delegation brought medals. In the US, for example, they brought 1,000 and they have 100 medals, only 10% succeeded there. So if they will send a 19 years old, it will ruin, the percentage. So they decided to send only people that can qualify to a final. Now they removed that, and if you are young and you did the international qualification, you can go to the Olympic. But back then, they decided to leave me here. And Sydney was my first Olympic game.
What year?
2000.
Okay.
I was 23 years old, and I did a great competition. In the first matches, I won 2 Olympic champions, one from Hungary and one from Poland. I managed to get to the fight for the bronze medal. 57 seconds to the end. You see, I remember it clearly. The referee did a mistake, and I lost that fight. Now, I'm not saying I did a mistake because I lost. The same referee got suspended for 2 years because of his mistake, but it didn't change the fact that I remained without an Olympic medal.
Wait.
They don't reverse the decision?
Now they have, like the VAR in football, they have video camera that every time that the referee is doing a decision, the referee on the control can look at that, and if he did a mistake, they're telling him. But back then, if the referee decided something, that's it. It was like in football before the...
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and it was a very difficult moment for me because,
What was the mistake? Is it very technical or?
He did something on the ground. In judo, there is, you need to throw your opponent on the back, and you can also submit your opponent, by strangle, like in MMA, for example. He did an arm lock, and I saw that I'm right. If you are crossing the, how do you say it? In
The
judo,
line?
yeah, exactly. If you are going out of the line, the referee must stop the fight. So I saw that I'm right next to the line. So I did a turn. I flipped myself in order to be outside of the line, and the referee didn't stop the fight, and he did the arm lock, and I need a surrender. So I lost the match. I have the photo if you want to see that I'm outside of the line. So it was clearly, it was a clear cut, but I don't think it's a mistake. The referee that did that mistake was from Côte d'Ivoire. I don't know how to say it in English. Khof HaShinav.
Okay.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, exactly. And my rival was a guy from France, and his coach was one of the legends and all the...
Okay.
Wow.
It's not that he wanted to...
In South America, they would have decapitated him.
It's not because I was from Israel. He wanted to help the French guy, It's
Wow.
like Russian...
Once a colony, always a colony.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a very difficult moment for me because it's one thing to lose. It's not fun to lose. But if someone beats me, so, I'm an athlete.
If he's better, he's bad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm used to that. But it's a different thing to lose because someone did a mistake. Because I told myself, okay, now I have to train for 4 more years. I can be the best in the world. And another referee can come and do another mistake. On purpose or not on purpose, doesn't really matter. And it took me like 3 weeks to decide that I want to continue to another 4 years because, it was a very difficult moment to see that things are not totally in my control, in my hands. It was understanding that took me a while to recover from it.
How do you deal with such?
After 3 weeks, I told myself, okay, if I will retire now.
Were you depressed?
Yeah, I was very depressed. Nobody knew about it because, it was a success for me because I finished 5th and suddenly everybody knew me because in Israel back then, you could see only the Olympic Games, nobody knowed me before Sydney. But after 3 weeks, I told myself, if I will retire now, so I give this referee opportunity to win me twice. One time he took my medal, and the second time he made me retired. And now I'm giving up my biggest dream in the world to be an Olympic medal. So I decided to do something, to take that burn and to use it. What do I mean? Every time I felt that I need a boost of motivation, I put the video of that mistake of the referee. I was filled with anger and I went to train. I used that burn in order to be, I self-motivated myself. Yeah.
Wow.
A shrink could have made a career out of that technique.
Yeah, from this point, it became like a system, like a method. I wrote a post a few weeks ago about Arik Zeevi, And he did the same. I wrote to him after he lost.
We gotta explain our audience.
Arik Zeevi, yeah, it's not well known.
In America, I don't think
There's a guy in my company named Arik Zeevi. So
He's
immediately, whenever I hear that name now,
I'm not a big sports guy, but he's a soccer player.
Yeah.
One of the biggest.
Yeah.
And he has a career abroad, very successful.
Now he plays in China, right?
No, now he went to Holland. He's playing in Eindhoven. It's a very But few weeks ago, we have a very critical game, Israel against Scotland, and the game got to penalties.
He still plays for the Israeli...
The Israeli national team. And Arik Zeevi, the biggest star of the Israeli team, got to the penalty, and he missed his penalty. And because of that, we didn't qualify to the Euro. And I wrote to him, I understand how you feel. It reminded me what happened for me in London when I lost after 43 seconds. But I needed to retire right after London. You still have your career, so try to use this burn that you feel now to become better. And he wrote me, don't worry, I'm hungry than ever. 6 days later, Israel played against Slovakia. Slovakia was leading 2-0, and Arik Zeevi scored 3 goals, and Israel won 3-2. Wow. And I wrote a post about it that he could have, been... how do you say, feel sorry about himself and to feel angry about the world, but he decided to do something else, to took that moment and to become better. And he scored 3 goals. So I think it's something, we should all learn it from it.
Do you think that that was something that happened when you were a kid, when you started training at age 7? Was that something you learned from a coach or something?
From the 16-year-old guy who didn't know about judo anything.
He was 16 years old, but he was Georgian. Soviet Union Georgia, not United States Georgia. Gruzini, yeah.
They never get depressed.
Failure is not an option.
Yeah, exactly. They are warriors. It's a country of warriors. So I think I took a lot from him in the mental side, because in judo he wasn't so good. He wasn't so technical. He was 16 years old. But mentally, he was a fighter. When we were young, he told us, you will be the world champions. We lost in the Bnei Brak competition,
But he said it to you.
Yeah, he said it to us.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is crazy. When I was 13 years old, it was my first competition in senior, 21 and up. Now when I'm thinking about it, I was only 13 years old. Bar mitzvah, I just celebrated my bar mitzvah and I competed again. Guys, it was crazy. He sent us to compete with older than us, with stronger than us. And I think he built my mental ability.
How was that even possible? How did he sneak you guys? He was like, he's 21.
No,
he's 21.
I will tell you, I was very big since I was very young. From 13 years old, I think I'm in the same height. Yeah, I was in my bar mitzvah, I was 73 kilos, but very tall and very strong. And so in my age, I didn't have any competitor. So when you don't have a competitor in your age, so they allowed you to compete with bigger athletes. So when I won, and if you are winning a medal till the age of 18, you are able to compete till the age of 21. If you are taking a medal, so you have the opportunity to compete. So I don't know. I'm looking and now I'm a coach. So I have kids that are 13, 14 years old. I'm not dreaming about sending them to compete against seniors. It's crazy, but it was crazy, and I think it helped me to become better. Yeah.
So you take this anger and
use it. Yeah.
You use it and you train really hard, and then 2004 comes.
Yeah.
And the pressure is huge.
Terrible. To Athens, I won 3 times the European Championship and a silver medal in the World Championship, and that year I was undefeated. So I was a favorite for a medal. And the stress was awful. I could walk in the street and people was shouting, Zeevi, we are counting on you. Don't let us down. And I'm not a football player. I'm not used to that kind of support. And when I entered into the arena, I saw all the arena was covered with Israeli flag, posters of me. People was wearing my name on their forehead. 2,500 people came to cheer me in Athens. And I was the only Israeli who competed that day. They came to support me. I was shocked. I thought, my friends and family will come, judo supporters, 50 people, 100 people.
You didn't realize
No, it was crazy. I didn't think about it that Athens is pretty close. And I was nominated for an historical gold medal because Gal Friedman didn't win his medal back then. And I was under a lot of stress, I'm telling you, because suddenly I started to think, what will happen if I will lose? you know, when you're going to watch a football game or a basketball game, even if your team is losing, you watch the game. You know, people were running. Something happened in 90 minutes. In judo, there is hippon. It's knockout, and it can happen seconds from the beginning. I once lost after 7 seconds. And suddenly I started to imagine a scenario that I'm going on the mat and all the crowd is shouting, Rick, Rick. 7 seconds, I'm out. You know, they bought a flying ticket, they reserved an hotel, they want the money back. I'm in a big problem. And in moments like this, I have a method. It's not, I didn't invent it. A lot of athletes are doing it. If you will watch a basketball game, you will see that the guy who's standing on the free throw line is doing a routine. Some of them are, how do you say, tapping the ball? Mm-hmm. How do you say, mekadre?
Dribbling.
Dribbling. Some of them are taking a big breath. In football, Ronaldo, you will see before a free kick, he's doing a 3 steps back, and then he's standing with his pose. Nadal in tennis is the crazy one. Before every time he's batting, he's doing with the nose like this, with the ear, with his hair. They're doing a routine. Why does it help? Because when you are doing a routine, you're focusing at that moment in the routine. You want to be good at that. It means that at that moment, you're not thinking about what will happen if you will lose. You succeeded at that moment to be on total focus, to be
meditation.
Right. Exactly. It's like meditation. In psychological, they say that our mind can think about 2 things both times. So if you're managing to focus on something, you are kicking the other thought aside. So I did it in Athens, and it worked in the beginning. But few minutes before I went on the mat, it's true, yeah, what I'm telling you right now, the security guard, the Israeli security guard told me, good luck, Arik, but I want to tell you something. You see, hundreds of people from that crowd flew this morning from Israel. They are watching your competition and they're going back to Israel. They came only for you. So good luck. It was tapping on my back and I was looking. He wanted to help me, but I didn't realize he ruined my mat. I had a very bad competition in Athens. I think I should have won a gold medal, but somehow because of the crowd, in the first 2 matches, I was very bad. In the second round, he was leading. He threw me 2 times in 30 seconds in the beginning. I'm telling you, that year I didn't fail for 1 time all the year. And in that mat, after 3 seconds, I find myself 2 times on the mat. And I remember that point. I looked at the crowd. They were like crazy, singing a football songs, you know. There's no judo song. Crazy thing. I can't sing it in English, but like Mishelo, Kofetsu Goy, you know, something crazy. Maccabi, Apoel. But at that moment, I don't know, I felt all the crowd is with me. And I became filled with anger and I was emotional and I started attacking the Italian guy. And only 38 seconds to the end, I managed to beat him, but something happened at that match. Suddenly, I managed to embrace the crowd, and it helped me to be on the podium, even though I wasn't at my best at that competition.
Which leads to this basic question. How, in sports in general, but in your field, how much of it is about being a good athlete or a good sports person at all, and how much of it is psychological? Maybe most of it is psychological.
Maybe you could win.
Yeah. You know, people like to say it's all in your head. In sports, they like to say it's all in your head. But believe me, not everything is in our head. You can be very strong in your head. If you will swim against Michael Phelps, you will lose.
Yeah.
Because there are many aspects to success. Head is one of them. But the thing I realized that our head stops us many times from showing our real ability. Our head stops us many times from showing our real potential. And I think that is so frustrating. I think we all live in a very competitive world. And in a competitive world, you don't have to be bad in order to lose. You don't have to do huge mistakes in order to lose. Sometimes it's enough that you are not at your best in order to lose. And at that point, the head is a critical thing. Try to be the best version you can do at that moment. And sometimes our head, you know, we started thinking about what will happen if we will lose, and then we are not at our best. So
you were so prepared, but psychology is what failed you at the end.
Exactly, because I wasn't prepared that so many crowd will be there, so many Israeli crowd will be there. Something from the mental aspect didn't work there because I didn't prepare myself. It was the first time that Israeli crowd came to watch an Israeli athletes. I'm not an Israel national team of football or basketball. So the surprise shocked me in the beginning. It took me a while to recover from it. But if I was prepared for that, maybe the competition.
But do you think today, like an athlete should have a mental coaching?
Of course. I also worked with a mental coach. I had a sports psychologist who worked with me.
But back in the day, it wasn't.
No, I worked
in
with
the
him,
90s.
but we didn't think about the crowd, it wasn't an issue. We worked about something else, we did the simulation of the matches against the Japanese, against the Korean.
But a coacher, like they say, a mental coacher, a guy who talks about you believing in yourself and just gives you confidence, maybe that's what sport, I don't know.
I think they have that today,
it's critical. I work with a guy like this, but, I worked with two different sports psychologists, and they have two different systems. One of them was like the Russian, Boris Blumenstein. He was Russian, and it was like training session. For example, there is a thing called biofeedback. I don't know if you know it. It's like an electrode that you are putting on your finger, and it's testing your. It's called mental stress. Okay, you can see if you are stressed, if you are relaxed, and we did a simulation with a Japanese guy, for example, and he could see on the computer if I'm attacking at the match, if I'm too relaxed. And afterwards, we analyzed the match, and we saw that I have some problems in the beginning of the match. I'm too relaxed, or in the end of the match that I'm too relaxed. He can see if I'm attacking in my mind. And then we can work on it on the mat. So we did like training session. So, for example, we worked about my reaction. What do I mean? Sometimes, I don't know, the pencil is falling from the table and you manage to grab it very fast. We feel, I'm very fast. It happens to you?
Yeah.
But if I will tell you, once.
1998.
But if I will tell you now, be careful. I'm now throwing the pencil, try to grab it. So suddenly you will become very stressed because you want to grab the pencil. Yeah. And because you are stressed, you will be slowest than before. So in order to be fast, you have to be very relaxed. It's a little bit,
reverse psychology.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You will see sprinters on the 100-meter line. You will see that they are very relaxed. Their muscles are very relaxed. That way they can react very fast. So we worked on it with Boris, with the sports psychologist. And the second one was totally different. It was like more traditional psychologist that talked with me about my problem, tried to clear my head. So I told you about that because there are different ways to deal with the mental ability. So every psychologist is taking a different version.
So, but you spoke about, the way you felt after the match in Athens.
Yeah.
Eventually you reached the podium and you're standing on the podium. And I always wondered kind of what silver and bronze medalists feel like, because here you kind of described it with a shade of failure. But is that how you felt? Did you feel like you failed yourself, or did you, because after all, it is a huge success.
Yeah. Before I will tell you that, in judo, it's very common that you see the guys who are standing on the podium. The first place is, of course, is very happy. The second place is very sad. And the bronze medal is very happy. Why? Because the podium is right after the final match. So the guy who just lost the gold medal is upset because he just lost. He can't smile. The bronze medalist just won his medal for the fight for the bronze, because if he was losing, it was
be on there.
Yeah, exactly. It was finished fifth. So you say the bronze medalist is always smiling, and the silver medalist is always upset. But few months after the competition, you see that the silver medalist is more happy than the bronze man. And as to your question, I think that I was deserved to be in the final in Athens, to fight against the Makarov from Belarus and to fight for the gold medal. I don't like to say it, but also in Athens there was a very big problem with the referee. The fight in the quarterfinal against the Korean. After 20 seconds I threw him. The middle referee gave an ippon, a knockout, but the side referee changed it to Wazari. It's a lowest point. I threw him for the second time, for the third time. I was leading, it was like the match was in my hand. 1 minute to the end, the Korean threw me. I felt that he's going to throw me, so I started to turn on my, in judo only, if you are on your back, it's an ippon, it's a knockout. And if you're on the side, it's different score. So I managed to fall on the side, and the middle referee gave just a point. The side referee changed it to reverse it to an ippon. And the match was over. And I was killing him all the match. And I was surprised that they gave a nippon because it wasn't a nippon. And after that loss, I started to fight with myself because one side told myself, okay, if it's not a gold, I don't want to compete. I want to go back to Israel. I don't want to compete. And the second side told me, Arik, you still have the chance to win the bronze medal. You have to be focused. You have to forget about that loss. It was a very difficult moment for me. There was a break of 2 hours before the fight for the bronze medal. And I remember that I was walking around the warming up area, and I was fighting with myself. One side said, Arik, it's too bad that you lost for the gold medal. You are not at your best right now. At least you won few matches. The crowd saw some matches. You didn't lose on the first match. And the other side said, no, you will go for the bronze. Don't give up. It's like that. That's the moment that I felt that I need to how do you say, to
take yourself by the hand.
To use all my mental ability in order to be there, to stay there, to try to win the bronze, because okay, it's not the gold medal, but it's still a medal. And if I would give it up that moment, I would hate myself till the end of my career.
But in the end, so when you were standing on the podium, you felt, I guess, because you managed to bring yourself to the point where you were like, I'm going to fight for the bronze, and then you got it.
It's a great psychological achievement also
I think
on your part.
The first thing that I felt is a relief.
Yeah.
In Israel, it seems that if you don't have an Olympic medal, it's like you didn't do it. Lee Kurzitz, for example, she's a surfer. She won 4 times the world championship. It's an amazing achievement, but she didn't win an Olympic medal. And it's like, okay, she didn't do it. And I knew that I have to bring an Olympic medal in order to say, okay, I did it. I have the stamp that I'm a good athlete. So I felt a relief. And then I felt happy with myself that after a very bad day, when I was under a lot of pressure, I managed to win that medal. But few months after Athens, I started to feel very angry at myself that it's only a bronze medal, because I think I deserve better. That year, from 2000 till 2004, I was, except for one Japanese guy, I was the best in the world. I won every tournament, 3-time European champion. I think I deserved a better medal than a bronze Olympic medal,
But you didn't give up.
No, I didn't give up. I decided
you had 4 more years.
Yeah. I decided to continue to 4 more years because I felt at my best after Athens. I felt that now that the Japanese retired, I'm the best in the world. And I had a 5 months break after Athens. I went to India and Thailand for 3 months. I did my after army tour. It was amazing. And when I came back, I still was one of the best in the world. I won a medal in a tournament in European Championship. Even without training, I won the silver medal. I lost. I did a stupid mistake in the final and I lost, but I saw that I'm still good. And that year, the World Championship was supposed to be held in Cairo, in Egypt. And my dream was to win a gold medal in Egypt, to play the national anthem. And 1 week before the World Championship, I got injured in my shoulder and I needed to do an operation and I didn't compete there. And I think from that moment, it's not that I was not good after the operation, but I wasn't like before. The operation changed everything. It made me stay out of judo for 8 months. And the hand wasn't like before. There were techniques that I couldn't do after the operation. And I felt that I wasn't, I was changed, I started to walk differently. And from that point, I think I become worse and worse. I wasn't bad, because I won a lot of medals afterwards, but I...
But you realized it in real time, or this is in retrospect?
No, in retrospect. At that time, after the operation, I remember that day after the operation, I told myself I will be better. I will make the hand even stronger than before, and I will work on. I will use these months to be. One of my biggest problem was that I wasn't so flexible. So at that time, right after the operation, I started working with the rhythmic gymnastic team to work on my flexibility. I trained with them 2-3 times a week. It was a little bit hysterical to see all the girls, with the leg like this, and I'm trying to do how do you say spagat? I don't know.
Split.
Split it's spagat? Yeah. Okay. And, I started working on different things to try to be better. And I was okay after the operation, but when you're out for 8 months, a lot of young athletes are coming, and
New
suddenly,
blood.
yeah, exactly, the map changed a little bit, and to Beijing, I was in a good shape in Beijing. I came as a European medalist, and I won a lot of medals before. But in Beijing, I did a mental mistake. I didn't tell it to no one, but I flew to Beijing 12 days before the fight. The Olympic Committee told me, Arik, it's not good to come so early to the competition. You have to come 5 or 6 days before to get used to the time differences, but not to be too much in the Olympic Village. But I wanted to go out from Israel because I was under a lot of stress in Israel. Everybody's talking with you. Israel has no problem to talk with you. So I wanted to be in the Olympic Village. And in the beginning, it was good for me on the first day, on the third day. But after a while, I felt that I felt tired. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I will tell you now, be ready. You need to run for 100-meter race, for example. I will tell you, be ready for the shot, okay? And you are ready, and you are very concentrated, and it takes a while, and after a while, you feel that you can't reserve your focus. You start to feel a little bit tired, and you are not focused enough. And when I'm shooting with a gun, suddenly you are not focused enough. That's what I felt in Beijing, that after 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, I felt tired. I felt like I want to end with it. And when the day of a competition came, I felt that I'm not at my best. I felt very, very tired. I don't know how to explain it. And I did it.
Like you got there too early.
Exactly. The stress killed me. And I told the Olympic Committee, the Gili Lustig, the chairman, I told him, you're right. I shouldn't come so early to the competition because the Olympic Village is very stressful. All the media is there, and all the guys who are in charge of the Olympic Committee are there, and everybody's talking about the competition. And it's very...
It's huge.
Yeah, it's very
It's probably empty at that point, right?
I also tell the guys that I'm coaching right now, it's not good to leave the day of competitions too early. Okay, one day before it's okay, but to leave it every day, it's wearing you out. So that was a huge mistake of mine.
So let's skip to the end because we don't have much time left. But I want to speak about you mentioned what was it? 2012 was London.
My last Olympic game.
Yeah. So you said you lost in what 20 seconds?
43.
43 seconds.
Yeah.
And your new podcast let's plug it, is called 43 in Hebrew. 43 seconds.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a very...
No, it's amazing that you named the podcast 43 seconds. I think that's pretty cool.
Because it's a very special moment for me. First of all, it's my biggest failure. I think my biggest fear happened that moment because, Olympic athlete, his fear is to come to the Olympic game, to come as a favorite for a medal. I came as the European champion. I won 3 months before the European title. I became the oldest ever won the European title. At least I have one international record. And I lost in the first round after 43 seconds, where all in front of all the Israeli people, I think around 1,000 people came to watch me in the competition, but all the rest saw me on TV. And to lose after 1 minute to a guy that I won 4 times before, it's the, how do you say it, the worst scenario I could have imagined happened that moment. And I also needed to retire. I knew that this is my last competition. And I think that that's the thing who really made me feel bad, because every time I lost, the thing who helped me recover from that loss is the fact that I know that there is another competition. I can be better at that. I can took that burn and to use it. And now I was sitting there in the warming up area in London after my loss, and I realized that I have nothing to fix. This is my last competition. I lost on the final line, and it was very difficult moment for me.
How old are you by then?
Almost 36. I was very, very old. I think a few weeks after London, a very well-known guy told me something that really helped me to recover from that loss. His name is Amir Eshel. He was the
head of the Israeli Air Force.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, he was the head of the Israeli Air Force. And he called me. I didn't know him before. And he told me, Arik, it's Amir Eshel. I told him, hi, nice to meet you. And he told me, I want to say to you, kol hakavod, bravo. I told him, I don't know what you mean. I lost after 43 seconds. And he told me, listen, Arik, your career is not the photo of your loss. Your career, it's a full-length movie. It's an amazing sentence. Mm-hmm. And it made me realize, when we fail, we always focus on that moment, on that photo. And we can't see at that moment that this photo is one photo of...
It's a collage.
Yeah, it's a collage, exactly. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at my career, and I remember that for the first time that I trained judo, I was 7 years old in a community center, in the shelter there. And then I won 9 medals in the European Championship. 4 of them were gold. I won a silver medal in the World Championship. I won an Olympic medal. And if you would have told me back then that I will be an Olympic athlete, will participate in 4 Olympic Games from that shelter, I would have think you are crazy. So I think he helped me to see things in perspective.
I think it's like ironic that your greatest psychological battle happened after your career was over, like right to like exactly. Tackle that 43 seconds.
Exactly.
But it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me that you still think about those moments.
Of course. Somebody asked me 2 years after London, do you still think about London? So I told him I will tell you something. A few weeks ago, I had a dream on my loss in Athens in 2004, and I couldn't sleep all night. So now you can imagine how I feel about London. So from time to time, it attacks me. I also giving lectures about it, so I always living that moment. But it's not that I'm walking with that and I'm feeling that all day. But it's something when I'm thinking about my career, I don't want to say hate myself because I don't hate myself, but I really feel bad at my career as this lost in the end. I think it's a...
You think to your last day, you'll feel those feelings?
Yeah, I think every guy, if he's very honest with himself, even Michael Jordan, if you will ask him about his career, I'm sure that he have a game that I hate myself, that I didn't score that ball and I didn't win that championship. I'm sure of that. If you're a competitive athlete, you always have a moment that you are sorry that you didn't win that match or win that medal. And I think my problem is that when I'm thinking about athletes that were in my age from different countries, and I see their resume that they have 2 Olympic medals or they won a world championship, and I know that I was better than them, technical and even mental, but I don't know, maybe because I came from Israel, something, held me a little bit. I always say that the Israeli athlete has this glass ceiling on top of his head. It's very difficult to break this glass ceiling. You mentioned that we have only 9 Olympic medals. We are ranked number 89 in the world. And I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with the Israeli mentality. Otherwise, we won't be so successful in high tech. We won't have one of the strongest army in the world. We won't have so many Nobel Prize winners. And there's nothing wrong with the Jewish gene. I checked it out. There are more than 700 Olympic medals gained by Jews. Mark Spitz, 7 Olympic medal, Agnes Keleti. So there's something wrong with the system in Israel, and there's something wrong. There are no role models. Now, you said why we are good in judo, because there are a lot of medals in judo. We managed to break the glass ceiling. So now every young athlete, young cadet who are competing in judo, he said, I want to bring an Olympic medal. Why not? Smadja brought it, Arik brought it, Orisa Son did it. Why can't I do it? And in the States, it's very common, Every basketball player want to play in the NBA. Every athlete want to win an Olympic medal, This is a working, how do I call it? Our working environment. If your working environment it's successful, like in Israeli high tech, so you will be successful.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what you've been up to in recent years. You are doing things to change that.
Of course, I established a non-profit organization who's supposed to make a big change in Israel Olympic sport. I think Israel is supposed to be in a better place. And it's not that I think that Israel, I knew that we are not good at sport, but in London Olympic game, something happened that made me realize that we are in a bad situation. I drove back to the Olympic Village with a friend of mine from Hungary. It was on the 4th day of the games. And he asked me, tell me, Arik, how many Olympic medals Israel has? So I told him 7. We had only 7 back then. So he told me, wow, amazing. You mean only now in London, yes? I told him, are you crazy? We are on the 4th day. I'm telling you, in all our history, in all sports. And I saw that he was shocked. And I asked him, why are you so shocked? You're from Hungary, you're not from United States. And he told me, I don't know. We have 145 gold medal, 164 silver medal, 452 Olympic medal Hungary had. Now they have 491. And now it was my turn to be in shock. And for the first time in my life, I started to find out how many Olympic medals as countries with the same population as Israel. And I realized that Bulgaria has 217 and Finland has 303, Denmark 194, and even the tiny Liechtenstein had 9 Olympic medals.
I hate Liechtenstein.
And I realized that we need to change something in Israel. So the thing I'm doing in my nonprofit is that first of all, I'm scouting the talented kids. I'm going to schools, elementary schools, and I'm scouting the talented kids. You will be amazed. 80% of the girls that I scouted didn't do sport before. They went to dancing, to the Boy Scouts of fame. I don't know how I would call it in English. They're not doing sports. In Israel, girls are not doing sport. It's like it's not for girls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about soccer. Not in the United States, it's the most popular sport for women. In Israel, they're not. Some of them are going to rhythmic gymnastics or to that. First of all, I'm scouting the kids. Second of all, I'm nurturing them. I give them the opportunity to train in different sports with the best coaches in Israel. Because the problem in Israel that all the sports is in private clubs. And in private club, the coach is getting paid according to the number of athletes. He's not trying to make them great, because if you will make the training difficult, so a lot of kids will leave. You have to make it, it's like, how do you call it, a sportive babysitter. That's the sport in Israel. Mm-hmm. And the third thing that I'm doing in my nonprofit is that I'm aiming every athlete to the sport that is suitable for his talent. Because now in Israel, you see many kids are going to play basketball because their friends are in basketball, and they can be very talented in basketball, but you will see the parents, and you will see that he won't be a basketball player because he will be, 1.80 meter. I don't know how to do it in
5'5".
5'5". Okay, in foot it's too difficult for me. And
6 foot is even short for basketball. So.
6 foot, it's what, 180?
It's like 180, 182. Whatever.
I'm 185. I'm maximum in
Jeez.
Israeli God.
Yeah.
and he's very talented. He can be very good at judo. He can be at taekwondo. He can be very good, but he's in basketball because his coach telling him, you can be a basketball player. So the thing I'm doing, first of all, I'm scouting, then I'm nurturing them, and then I'm aiming them to the right sport. And we have a very big success now. I have a very special project in long distance running for the Ethiopian community. Wow. The Ethiopian community has a very special talent. They are good at long distance running. I'm doing it in Petach Tikva and in Netanya. We went to all the elementary school there with 2 coaches, one of the best coaches in Israel, Gizacho and Zmiro, and we founded the talented kids. We have 50 kids who are running for us. And they're training 3 or 4 times a week in order to be an Olympic athlete. Last year in the Israeli championship in field running, all the podium was kids from my project. First place, second place, and bronze medal. We took the first place in club competition till the age of 12. And I think this is the way to succeed. First of all, you have to try to find the talented kids, then to try to give them the best coaches you can get, and then to navigate them to the right sport. Not to do judo because your coach is your neighbor, to do judo because it's fit for your abilities. And I think 8 years from now, that's the biggest problem in my project. It's a very long distance project. 8 years from now, you will see a change in Israel sport.
What's the NGO called?
IFOE, Israeli Foundation of Olympic Excellence.
And you accept donations?
What do you mean?
For the NGO? Like, can people donate?
Of course.
How?
Donation, I think.
Yeah.
First of all, you can go to my website, ifoe.org.com, and you can see you have a browser that you can donate there. And right now, all my donations are from Israel, from companies like Bank Hapoalim, or from Harrison family, or from Yaakov Shachar from Volvo. I will tell you a secret. When I established my nonprofit, I realized that I have to bring a chairman that first of all, he likes sports, and then he can bring money, can help me bring money. So I called Ehud Olmert, the former prime minister. He's crazy about sport, and he really wanted to help me. And he told me, okay, we will be a very big gala with a lot of famous people, rich people that will help you. You have to, I think your goal is to try to raise $2 million. I told him, okay, I aim for 2 million shekel, but if you can bring $2 million, it's okay. And then Shula Zaken decided to reverse her.
That was before
Before the sentence, of
the
course.
sentence.
Before. And then he was focused with his sentence, and then so I'm raising the money by himself, not so successful, but that's what I'm doing.
We have some pretty, some of our listeners have some money.
Really?
So so they say. So maybe
With pleasure.
you never know who listens.
So
and-
ifoeorg.com.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, no spaces, no hyphens, no anything.
Nothing.
ifoeorg.com.
I have to ask you one last thing.
Yeah,
You said Amir Eshel told you that
Yeah.
your life is a full-length movie.
yeah.
So would you say this movie is a tragedy, a comedy, or maybe, I don't know, an inspirational film?
I'm very. There are times that when I look at my career, I'm very proud of it because I have 9 medals in the European Championship. I'm the third in the history of the European Judo. I'm the oldest ever won the European title. My silver medal in the World Championship was a very historical moment in the world of Judo because I won it in the open category, not in my category. With all the heavy guys, I won 150 kilo guys there. So I'm very proud of my career. But on the second hand, there are times that I'm looking at my career and I'm very upset with myself that I have only 1 Olympic medal and I don't have a gold medal in the World Championship and I didn't win my 5th European. So I'm very, but if I need to choose, I think I'm very proud of my career if I have to choose one.
And you know what? If your project will bring us dozens of medals, then it'll be tikkun olam.
Exactly. I think this is my goal, to try to improve the sport from the different side.
I don't know. To me, it's. I don't think there's a tikkun olam needed. Like, it's obvious. It's amazing how someone can reach such heights and still be kind of wrought with these, like, distraught with kind of these inner battles. Like,
I tell you, the fight that I lost because I did a mistake, I'm not thinking about it because I did a mistake. I took a decision and it was wrong. I'm always thinking about mistakes that happened because I grew up in Israel. Because if I was a Japanese athlete or an American, I won't have that force before.
If you were Japanese, you would kill yourself after the first.
and I'm thinking a lot about mistakes that the referee did because I know that there is a connection that we are from Israel. Not because of the anti-Semitic, no, not because of that, because it's very easy to make mistakes against small countries. If you will see statistics, you will see that most of the mistakes are happened against Israel, Slovakia, It's not against United States, Germany, Italy, Russia. And I know that I always like that sport is fair. If you deserve a medal, you get it. If you're not deserve it, it's okay to lose. That's sports. And I think that my career could have been a little bit different if the referee won't do that mistakes. I could have been a lot better. But no. On the other hand, I think about it, okay, let's say I have now 2 Olympic medals. In Sydney, for example, I won that bronze medal. Would my life will be different? I don't think so. So it's a very philosophical question.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you speak Hebrew, a new podcast, 43 Seconds by Arik Zeevi.
Okay.
It's going to be out in a few...
Next week, I think.
Next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds super interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
I
have
will
some,
send
like,
it.
really prominent guests, right? Can you say who you
Yeah,
had?
of course. My first guest is Adir Miller, I think the best
Stand-up
comedian in
comedian,
Israel. Yeah. The second guest is Yael Arad from Fauda.
Yeah.
Ayelet Shaked, the politician.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the fourth one is Lior Sushard,
The
the
Mentalist.
mentalist. My fifth guest is Dana Weiss from the news. And then the list is...
To be continued.
Yeah, to be continued, exactly.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you
so much for coming. We
Thank you.
really appreciate it. Before we go, we have a sponsorship with the Forward.
Yes. Forward.com. Visit forward.com/2njb to get a special offer. You get 6 months for $10. That's like like 60, 70%
And
off.
it supports the podcast.
Support the podcast, forward.com. They have great content, opinion, news, all through a Jewish
Everything.
lens. Forward.com/2NJB.
Also, Arutz Sheva, IsraelNationalNews.com. Check them out for great content in English about Israel. And last but not least,
AJN.timesofisrael.com.
the Australian Jewish
The
News.
Australian Jewish News. Check them out. Another great Jewish news source. And of course, we also accept donations.
Yes.
So we do this on our free time, guys. If you guys want to help us out, visit 2njb.com/donate.
You're on
Zeevi?
social media.
Excuse me?
You're on social
of course,
media.
of course.
How can people reach out, find you?
Just Arik Zeevi.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Facebook.
TikTok.
TikTok, no. Not TikTok. I'm 43 years old. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.